Hello, it's Adam Yurchik for TCGplayer.com. This is round 3 of a modern daily. I'm 2-0, and I won the die roll. I'm going to play first. And I open up to a bad hand. There's no green mana, no colored mana at all for that matter. So I can't really keep this. This hand's just a mulligan. This hand's decent. I have some pump spells, and I have a blighted agent. And I have a blessing. It's really not great. It's not terrible. I'm thinking about mulliganing it. I do have Rancor, which is kind of a good card. Okay, I'll keep. I kind of wanted aggressively mulligan to 5, but I only have 4 Glistener Elves on 1, so I'm probably going to be relying on a 2-drop. And I'm probably going to have to draw land anyways on 5. I'm going to have to get lucky somehow, so I think I should just keep this pretty reasonable hand I have in front of me. He played a mountain, so I'm going to get a breeding pool now. I don't want to take extra damage. I am thinning my deck, but it's such a small amount compared to the life total loss. He bolts, that's fine. I'm pretty happy he bolted that instead of an agent. Okay, so some pretty good draws for me, I think. Glistener Elf is fine. He's probably thinking about remand. He doesn't know I missed a land drop. Or actually, he certainly does. This is my second miss now. So he should definitely remand it. I guess I could have drawn a land. Or maybe he'll use a burn spell instead. He has something. He probably is playing like Splinter Twin. Mana League. So he's not playing Splinter Twin. Most likely. Probably blue-red control. It seems like a tough one for me. So I draw another Mutagenic Growth, which is actually really good, I think. Okay, nothing. Vendilion Click or something for him would be a beating. Okay, so he's actually just playing the control deck. Electrolyze. Okay. Mutagenic Growth is going to keep me in this game. I'll run out Hierarch. Bolt, I'm going to have to let that die. It's not worth 2 growths. He's actually kind of out of resources. So if I were to double growthed, I wouldn't have to discard now. But I was banking on drawing lands, of course. I don't think he should have used Electrolyze. That was crazy. Maybe not. He could have some real gas. Okay. Snapcaster. Now he's going to just Electrolyze me again. And this game looks tough from here. Could have went for Dryad Arbor. Tried to attack a Johnny, but he would block or kill it. This one is over. So maybe I use those mutagenics on the Bolt, and then he just snaps Electrolyze. That game was pretty unwinnable. It was looking good, though, the first few turns. If I would have hit a land, like turn 4 or something. So he probably doesn't have Spellskite. That's something I need to really think about. Almost every card in the sideboard. I take that back. Every card in the sideboard can deal with Spellskite. Every single one. Every sideboard card. Last match, I was able to snag one with Inquisition, where otherwise I would have been pretty much dead to it. That card is quite good against this deck. Similar to how it's good against the Boggles Aura deck and how it's good against Splinter Twin. It's a really good sideboard card right now. I don't need Dismember. Needle is questionable. I like Spellskite a lot. And then I like Inquisitions. The question is what comes out. So I cut the Rancors because they're bad against a lot of instants and removal. Because they set me up to get 2 for 1 and they're the weakest pump spell. I like Inquisition because it clears the way pretty well. I'm going to cut that Dryad Arbor because it's a liability and it's really not too useful against him. And I'm going to cut a Giant Growth because it's on the weaker end of the pump spells. All the discard, all the Spellskites, I think. This looks good. Nature's Claim, Abrupt Decay, Needle, Dismember don't seem useful right now. Needle has some impact, but I don't think it's better than the other cards in the deck. Another Inkmoth hand. I got a mulligan this one. Okay, this hand's completely fine. I'm going to lead that Glistener Elf and then Pendelhaven and cast Noble Hierarch. I could also leave up the Vines to counter a removal spell. Another way I could play this is turn 1 Noble, pass, and then if he doesn't kill it, I can play Glistener and leave up Vines and Pendle, or play the Hierarch. Or if he does kill it, just play Glistener and pass with Pendelhaven up and Vines in hand. Then play the Hierarch, pump with Pendelhaven if I draw land, and then have 3 coming at him with the Vines in hand. I think I'm going to play it conservatively and protect my Glistener Elf. I'm not going to play it turn 1. Although if he keeps, I might, because he's thinking so long. Though he used most of the sideboarding time, so he might just be playing 2 events. Because if he doesn't have bolt and I lead elf, I'm going to put myself into a dominating position. If I can untap with elf, I'm going to be in great shape. Maybe I should do it quicker. If I wait, I'm going to get electrolyzed, perhaps. Though, I don't want to ever really use vines. So I think that turn 1 elf is actually just wrong. Because accelerating will actually give me a comparable amount of damage. It also plays magic with him and lets him bolt my hierarch. So here I go hierarch, elf, Pendelhaven, pass. I would have gotten in for, say, 2 there. Now I can get in for a bunch. So I will... Okay, I have the blessing, so I'm just going to pump the Glistener. And then bash for the full amount. If he bolts it, then it's really rough for him. One from Glistener, 2 from Pendelhaven, 3, 4 from Noble Hierarch, 8 from Vines, 10 from Groundswell. I unfortunately don't have enough mana to do all of that. If he bolts it here, and I respond with pumping, it will counter the Pendelhaven ability, because it won't be a 1/1 anymore. So I could pay 1, give it pro red. And then pump with Vines. No. The play, I think, is to Vines, 2 at 5/5. Attack, 7. And then pass with Groundswell and Apostle's Blessing up. And let my Pendelhaven get countered. That way my Vine is a pump spell and a counter spell at the same time. If I Blessing here and save Vines... Yeah, this is actually excellent. Target the Glistener Elf. And I'm going to use my Noble Hierarchs. This way I have a forest as a safer source of mana. Now I attack. 7. So now he's dead on board. Electrolyze is obviously his best play, but that will still result in him dying because I could Blessing the Elf, pump with Pendle, and then Exalted with the remaining Hierarch. So I don't even need to pump. Send. Send. Okay, game 3. So he did keep interesting hand. I think I'm going to keep the same sideboarding plan. Dismember does kill Colonnade and it kills Vendilion Click, but it's really not what I'm interested in. And again, I don't think he has Spellskite. Abrupt Decay seems decent. Kills Click. Needle stops explosives, Colonnade, Planeswalkers. Giant Growth can trade with a Lightning Bolt. Maybe I cut a Groundswell for 1 Giant Growth against the control deck. I kind of like that. It's more conservative, more something I can rely on. And it's really for the fact that it just trades with a Bolt all the time. Mutagenic Growth is good against Electrolyze, and it's a free way to get through some damage. I think it's just good. Could be right to cut one for a Groundswell, but I don't think so. I'm really just considering bringing in Abrupt Decay for possible Spellskite, but I think I'll rely on my Inquisition. I also didn't mention that Needle stops Spellskite. Though in this matchup, I like my own Spellskite. Alright. Same configuration. I think this is a good hand. I have Infector, I have Land, I have a Hierarch, I have some pump spells, and then I have the Inquisition. The Inquisition's holding this hand together pretty well. Also, this deck isn't looking to mulligan too much. I think it needs to keep a slightly wide range of hands. It also doesn't need much land to function. So 1 land hands are going to be alright sometimes. 1 and 2 landers. This is basically a 2 land hand. I'm going to turn 1 Hierarch. And I'm going to save that Inquisition. Most likely. To protect my agent. But there is the issue of the mana. I don't believe I have a green-blue land. Or a black-blue land. So that Blighted Agent and that Inquisition are at odds. And I have that Hierarch for blue, but I can't rely on that. But now that I have that Nexus, I don't necessarily need the agent immediately. I think the play is black land, Hierarch, pass. He bolts it, which I'm actually pretty satisfied with, because Inquisition was probably just going to take a bolt anyways. I see snare, snare, path. So I'm going to take path and start riding this Inkmoth Nexus. I know his hand. Two spell snares in his hand. Groundswell. Mutagenic growth. And it looks like he's dead, and I'm 3-0. It's Adam Yurchik for TCGplayer.com. Thanks for watching.